in a world ruled by mad gods, interfering with human affairs, playing with them like toys, bickering amongst each other. Chaos runs amok. Savage beasts roam the land. Abhorrent creatures bent on destruction. Order is difficult to command. Ancient laws are almost impossible to uphold, and only a few steadfast warriors still have the heart to hold them true. One such warrior, Kratos, seeks to hold the gods punishable for their crimes in breaking one of the oldest written rules ever created. I am Kratos, and if you do not rewind your VHS tapes, I'll come find you. His diligence has no match. Even Ares, the god of war, cannot escape Kratos' rage.
Yeah, that guy, he's pretty small. Not really worried about it. He just wants to feel like a big man. I'll give him the chance.
Now, Ares, you do understand that the first people who violated this law had their ashes bound to his skin, and those were his family, his wife and child?
Excuse me? What did you say?
Kratos knew that recently the god of war, Ares, had not rewound the sixth sense, ruining it for the next people to rent it from Blockbuster.
I was honestly pretty upset, man. I wanted to watch that movie and it got ruined because that god of war just couldn't rewind his VHS tape.
This fueled Kratos' rage, and he began a warpath through Athens to reach Ares to teach him a valuable lesson. I am going to pop that punk in the pie hole. Along the way, Kratos discovered more law violators, and they were dealt with swiftly. Say you need to take your medicine.
No, stop!
It looks like you won't be watching any more VHS tapes.
He's on his way here. Seriously, he's a bit insane, but he's not very big. Do you think there's a chance he can get me? Do you think?
Kratos made his way to the top of a tower situated on the back of the Titan Kronos, containing an old Blockbuster box filled to the brim with power enough to punish those who deserve it. Now, where did I leave that old VHS tape? Here it is. Big, a little on the nose, but I'll take it.
He has what? An old VHS tape of Big? Is that something I should be concerned about? Oh, he's on his way here? Oh, fuck.
Ares began pleading with his father to stop Kratos' rage.
Hey Dad, can you, take care of this guy for me? Honestly, I didn't mean to forget to rewind my VHS tape. I got busy and I forgot.
Don't you dare lie to me, Ares. I can tell when you're lying.
Dad, this guy's creeping me out. Can you please give me a hand?
I'm tired of waiting. I am about to fuck you up. I'm gonna open the box now. Kratos grew to be the same size as Ares, and now Ares was very, very aware of his situation.
Hey, maybe you want to see your family again? Maybe that'll help make you feel a little better?
Hugs for my family. But guess what, guys? You did not rewind Star Wars, and you ruined it for the next person. Now they all know who Darth Vader is. Damn it, Ares! I'm gonna kick your ass.
Kratos, let's just talk about this a little bit before we do anything rash. Oh, fuck!
And so Kratos, who was contracted with an obligation to stop people from forgetting to rewind their VHS tapes, had stopped the biggest offender. Or so he thought.
Oh, fuck!
God of War for the PS2 is one of the most well-respected action games for the console, and it's still in development today, even though it's been changed. It doesn't matter, it's still extremely popular and well-made. The visceral story and gory combat, coupled with platforming, puzzles, and the quick-time events during combat itself, has made this game something of a legend, and many games afterwards have tried to copy this formula with varying degrees of success. Combat is probably the most focused on aspect of the game, and honestly deserves all the praise that it gets. It's very simple, with things like a roll, blocking, 2 different types of attacks, heavy and light, magic that you can use to hit enemies from far away or close up, and a small leveling system, which you use red orbs gathered from enemies and chests to level up your various abilities. On top of this, when an enemy is low enough on health, they will have a prompt above their head, the circle button, which you press to activate a quick-time event. Sometimes it requires no button presses, other times it requires the analog stick to be swiveled in certain directions, and other times it requires you to jam on buttons or press a sequence of face buttons. Each of these things allows you to get health from an enemy guaranteed when you do the quick-time event. This way, it gives you a chance to refill your health, especially on the harder difficulties. It's also very satisfying because all the animations during this QuickTime event are very, very well done and fun to do. This allows the player a little bit of leeway when they make some mistakes and then finally get an enemy low enough to refill their health to then fight the next enemy. You're supposed to learn from this, gather the health, and do better the next time, which is perfect. This is kind of how you want to learn to play a game and how you want the progress to be in a game. Alongside the combat are platforming sections and puzzle sections, both of which are decent. They aren't fantastic in any way, and they aren't bad. They are all fun and make sense in the end, and aren't too difficult to deal with. Some of the platforming sections can be a little difficult near the end of the game, especially with the one-hit kills falling off of a ledge and dying right away, and having to restart that section. But it does break up the combat in a way that makes it fun, and it still feels especially on brand for God of War. So while I don't think the platforming and puzzling is done to such a degree that I would give it a huge amount of praise, it is still a fantastic addition to all the combat, and breaking it up to make sure that the player has something else to do, and it honestly isn't too bad. What I found to be most interesting was that the difficulty really makes you feel part of the character. Playing through on the easiest difficulty made me feel as powerful as a god. Yes, I made a lot of mistakes, but it was extremely fun and made me feel powerful. While the harder difficulties portray a story that you would most likely see in movies, where someone starts from a very low point and eventually gets to a high point, but with an enormous struggle in the middle. So if you were looking for a challenge, hard difficulty as well as God mode at the end is very satisfying and makes you feel like you really earned it. But for those who want an easy way to get through the game, to experience the fun and the story and the platforming, the puzzles, the combat, easy is a perfect difficulty. The story is also extremely well done, fitting so perfectly into the mythology itself, having references everywhere to all different parts of the mythology, and even feeling like it could be a story you read somewhere, even though it does take place by killing one of the actual gods and doesn't really happen very often in the actual mythology. It's still so entertaining and interesting. With only a very few amount of twists, it's very straightforward, but it doesn't matter. It's not a story that's often told, and it's just fun to watch how ridiculous things can get, especially after this first game, because this first game is really what set the foundation for the future games and how ridiculous Kratos ends up being. And while there are very few parts of the game I didn't like, the one thing I found interesting was the leveling up with red orbs. I didn't find it to be that great, especially since most of all of your skills get leveled up to max very easy, without having to look through all of the secrets and finding all of the red orb chests and killing all the enemies and getting the maximum amount. I still was able to very easily level up many of the skills in the game, even when I didn't use them. So I didn't really care that much about the leveling. Not that it's bad, not that it's great, just wasn't that interesting to me. So if you don't mind the gore and the violence, this is a very, very good game for the PS2 that you should experience if you have not yet experienced it. And that is the end, folks. We have reached the end of God of War, game number 33. I'm so excited to have gotten through it. It was a lot of fun, and this is the first time that I began streaming. I streamed God of War, and I'm going to be streaming the next games I play. So if you would like to join and watch the streams and be a part of them, you're more than welcome to. I try my best to stream at about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US as often as I can. If you would like to know when I'm going to stream or when I'm not going to stream, you can join the Discord, which will be down in the description. There, I'll post things and talk to people about stuff, and maybe you'll even get to see some sneak peeks of things coming up, which is always fun. Anyway, on to the guessing game. All right, people, what is the next game I will be playing? Some of you may already know because of the stream. Don't give it away, but that's okay. Here's a picture from Stable Diffusion. What do you think it's trying to depict? I feel like it's going to be more simple. I mean, it's a very easy title for a game. Like, it's one word. It's like this commanding word. When you look at the title, it's just, you just have to yell it. Also, if you drink Power Thirst. But thank you so much, everyone who's here watching. This is a little bit of a shorter video, mostly because God of War is already covered quite often. But yes, it's still a game I need to beat. So, making a video on it, short video so people can watch it, and the fun story at the beginning, which I hope people liked. I don't know. I never know if people are gonna like them. They won't all be like this. I wanted to do these things because it kind of sounded fun to me, and I'm always honestly having fun doing the voices and figuring out silly stories. I have one more that I definitely am going to do, and now that I'm streaming these games, it might change. I might be getting a webcam and having it set up. Honestly, if anyone has any suggestions about what I should do for the streaming and for the videos, then that's fine. Please let me know because I'll take some suggestions. And also, if you're still here at the request of some of the people in the stream, I did set up a Patreon. You are not obligated in any way. You're not really going to miss much, but if you want to, you can check that in the description. And I just want to thank anyone who's this far in. Thank you so much for watching these. I have really enjoyed doing this, and I'm really committed to doing this challenge. I'm not going to stop. This is going to continue going. And I actually had a good question by someone who asked whether or not the streaming was going to slow down the project, because obviously streaming is a different thing, but it won't. Luckily, the way that things are set up, it should not at all slow down. And in fact, it might even be faster, because sometimes I get sidetracked when I'm not focused. So, I'm sitting here eating snacks, watching a video going, oh crap, I've got to work on my game. But if I'm streaming, I don't have time to do that. I'm streaming and talking to people. So maybe I'll finish things quicker. But that's besides the fact. Thank you so much for watching my videos, guys. Later.